Well, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean right here in the Rock Rage Radio Network, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk and Mapex Drums. I've got a young lady here who's had a single out for about a month. Miss Ana Grosh, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm super. So, you are in Nashville, is that correct?
Yeah, I bounce between Nashville and Atlanta. I'm originally from Atlanta, but I go to school in near Nashville.
Okay, perfect. I've had a lot of people on the show that are doing business in Nashville. Give me your interpretation of it.
Of like the business in Nashville.
Well, just the business, the town, what the vibe is.
I mean, it's nothing like Atlanta. It's definitely more of a party town than Atlanta. I mean, it's Music City, so it's really hard to, not run into a million other musicians doing exactly what you're doing. So it's good for networking, but you really have to know yourself before you put yourself in that kind of city.
Yeah, a lot of the people that I've talked to that are there have said that there's a dues paying period. You just don't arrive and people kind of pick up on your thing. You gotta prove to them that you've done some work. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. I think that's every career path. You have to prove something.
Right on. So tell me about Freedom.
Yeah, it's my first single I've ever released with a label, and it's the first time I've ever had a real team behind me to help me put out a song, and it's been unlike any other experience. And the song itself is super special to me, and I'm really happy that they like it. So it came out, and it was I think funnily enough, I wrote that song never thinking it would come out, more of a like emotional healing thing, and now it's out, and I'm like, that's embarrassing. So,
Well, it says here the song's about that feeling when your partner has a real life and you don't. Maybe explain that a little bit.
I mean, I think growing up, there's always like ebbs and flows in your career and your life and how you feel. And, I've been in a very healthy, long relationship for years at this point, and it's just like, I guess I was in an immature place when I wrote it of just like, I have nothing going on. My music is going nowhere. I have no friends. And my partner is this amazing person that has so many opportunities and potential. And it's hard not to just feel down about yourself at that point, but it's also not healthy. So I don't want to say that's normal. That's just, I think, growing with a partner is something that you have to get over.
Well, so I mean, in this age of social media, everybody's life is amazing. We all know this, right? I mean, it's real, and I'm being obviously very facetious, but I think that this theme is very common for people. They see, let's face it, everybody's taking pictures of things that they're doing, and the game to me is, oh, look what I'm doing that you're not, and it's almost to
Yeah.
build yourself up to make other people almost feel badly. So this theme is actually, it's common, but maybe not often written about.
I mean, I think it's a peculiar theme because I don't feel like I hear this side of relationships that often because it's really not, excuse my dog, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
But it's kind of a part of the relationship that like nobody wants to talk about. And I think everybody compares themselves to everybody in their lives. And I think this song is kind of a sassy take on like this relationship. Um, and just for like disclaimer, it's like just because this is a very small part of the relationship and a feeling that I had at one moment, like that's not at all the full story. Just like what you said about social media, you're never going to get the full story with one post or one song. So take everything with a grain of salt, of course.
No, absolutely. And I mean, you know, I never, there was never a bucket list thing for me to be a podcast host. It was just something that happened. I'm a gigging musician, then I can't play, and I do it for fun. And here I am 5 years, or yeah, 5 years later. But the thing for me is that people, for whatever reason, like to revel in other people's misfortunes, as we saw last week at that little old concert in Toronto that where it blew up. And a friend of mine said we should create a drinking game around every time you see one of those memes, you'd be hammered in about 30 seconds.
Oh,
Um, so do you find that when you wrote this song, like social media aside, like I guess we're both on board with that. Um, did this song, I guess, have its intended effect for you in terms of writing it and figuring
Yeah,
that piece out?
I think it definitely played its role in my life, and I think it was a very sassy kind of diva-ish take. And I think oftentimes I write about things that I would never say in real life. Like
Yeah.
I think the chorus and like there's a bunch of like lines I'm just like I would never say that to a real human, but it's art, and I think if you filter yourself, you're never going to make great art. So
No,
that's
that's a great line, and the thing too that I to me, if somebody's got enough guts to put themselves out there to write a song and be judged and all that, um, let's call it what it is. Most of the judging is being done by people that are not really doing a whole heck of a lot, right? They're not writing songs or they're not going to concerts and those types of things. So they're sitting there and they're waiting for the next victim, if you will, right? Um, what type of feedback have you received from this song since you put it out?
Yeah, I think what I was not expecting was the amount of like older people that really like the song, and that's probably sonically because it's a little more vintage and retro than anything I've ever done. But I just wasn't expecting people like my mom and even, folks in Nashville that I would never think would like this kind of lyricism. They really enjoy it and they find it sincere and of course a little bit um racy, but I think they're kind of everybody's a little bored these days, so they don't mind.
Yeah, well, and you're right, you nailed it. People's attention spans are very, very weak and very narrow. So to capture their imagination, um, has to take, monumental things. When we talked before we started recording, you said, you felt that the single was going pretty well. You're happy with it to date?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this is probably my favorite song I've ever released. It definitely is my favorite song I've ever released, and I am very proud of it and I love performing it, which is I think most important.
So it says here, my good buddy Gina sent me your notes, and it says that you're studying audio engineering.
Yes. Yeah.
So your goals, is that something that you want to eventually get into? Is that something that you're doing to kind of add to your toolbox for your further career?
I think, well, I was like, what, 18 or 19 when I had to decide what I wanted to go to college for.
Right.
Which is, silly, of course. But I just, in high school, I had been producing and learning how to produce for many years, and I just decided that I would continue down that. And the options were honestly like music business or commercial songwriting or audio production. And I was just like weighing the benefits, and I just figured that I'm good at this one thing, and there's many jobs in this field, and I wasn't sure if being an artist was ever going to be in the cards for me going into college. So I just wanted to be prepared for, being in the industry, not as an artist, but, obviously being an artist now, it's like I don't really want to be behind the board because I want to be singing,
Yeah.
but it's still, I'm still very passionate about it, and it's definitely helped me make better music. Freedom is one of my favorite songs because I produced it on my own, and it's a piece of my creation that I think, a lot of artists don't get.
Yeah.
Like making something start to finish, that's something that most artists just don't do. And I don't even do it for all my songs, but it's always special when I do.
So in terms of a genre, like if I was to tell my audience without them hearing the song for the first time or hearing your material for the first time, um, what would you term in terms of what would you call it in terms of the genre that you're writing in and what this song is?
I would probably say it's like a soul pop, maybe a little bit of funky and R&B, I guess. Um, yeah, maybe soul pop is as easy as it can get.
And you wrote it yourself,
Yes.
which is kind of especially in a town like Nashville. I know some people down there that are um, you know songwriters are and using their own songs are sometimes not embraced, right? They want you to use the team that's down there. I have a friend that he's from up where I live, but he's written for Carrie Underwood and Bon Jovi and people like that, and he's in that group of 10 or 12 writers that kind of writes for everybody. Have you pitched any of your songs to people in Nashville yet?
I don't believe I have. Not really in that sense. I wouldn't mind being a writer, but I also am at this point right now where I am pursuing an artist career, and if somebody came to me and wanted a song, of course I would never, pass over a great opportunity, but it's not an opportunity that I'm chasing right now.
Sure. Well, and I mean, here's the thing. I mean, there's a couple of theories, right? You have a backup plan. A backup plan is more or less saying you don't have enough confidence in the one thing you want to do. I don't believe that to be true because if you're learning all kinds of different parts of the business, you make yourself into what really is the thing of the day now, which is a do-it-yourself artist, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, are you doing a lot of that yourself? Do you have some people that are doing it for you? Is it a combination of each? How are you doing it?
I mean, I recently, this year, 2025, has been a extraordinary year for my behind the scenes work because I got a manager and I started working with a very, very, very small label. And so I never had a team like that before. I was always, bouncing between producers and engineers because that was the lane I was in.
Yeah,
And that's basically the only people I worked with. So now I'm working with people that are actually in the business. So my actual business profession is moving forward in a way that I never had. And um, it's definitely something that I was weak at before I had a manager, but
sure.
it's
Well, the
swinging.
business changes literally minute to minute, right?
Yeah.
Something that you think is current, new, and hip is yesterday's news very quickly. Um, have you, I guess, sat down and formulated some goals as to how you're going to stay ahead of that kind of thing that always happens in the business?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have goals right now, but I don't think my goals are set on what anybody else is doing or what I see my friends doing. I don't think my goals are set in any of that. It's more of like, I want an album out. I want a tour. I don't care what everybody else is doing right now. Like, is touring going to not be trending in 2026? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. As long as there's not a pandemic, I don't see why any of my goals would change.
Right. And I mean, that's a great point because, I mentioned I started this podcast because of the pandemic, and one of the themes was the people that are sitting there feeling sorry for themselves because everything is shut down are going to be left behind the people that are actually doing some stuff. And I was one of the people that was doing some stuff. Now I hit an interesting little part where people think I'm lucky, people think I'm fortunate, people think, oh my God, you know, they don't recognize the hard work, which is, not a new thing. Do you find do you get some of that when you're kind of out there doing your thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people chop up what I do to luck, and my opportunities, at least in this year, have been chopped up to luck. But at the end of the day, like, I was in high school doing what I see people doing in college.
right,
So I didn't do what everybody was doing in high school. I was already working on this goal and this dream. So it's not luck, it was years. And if it takes 10 years to be an overnight success, I'm about 5 or 6 years in.
sure.
So it's just, being consistent with that kind of thing. And I often find myself being like, am I just lucky? And I'm like, no, I have to come back to reality and realize that I'm ready for the opportunities that have presented themselves to me. And maybe a year ago, I wouldn't have been. So it's
Well,
all
it's
timing.
it's an interesting thing because I want to say it was 2012, 2013. I went to a concert headlined by Brad Paisley.
Mm.
Rodney Hampton was the second person on the bill, and this was 2020, 2012, I think. The opener was this little girl named Taylor Swift. And I remember thinking, like she was just kind of country girl, she was doing country songs. Tim McGraw was the big song that was out. And I didn't walk away. I truthfully was like, I wasn't a country fan, and I saw Brad Paisley and I was like, whoa, this is just insane. Like
Yeah.
it was a rock concert. But to your point, that was 13 years ago. And,
Yeah.
she just had a big 2.5, 3 year tour. So, I mean, really, to your point, it took her 10 years to kind of break in that way, right?
Yeah. No, there's a lot that goes into it. And I don't think anybody will ever see what happens behind the scenes. So it's important that you know for yourself that you are doing what you need to be doing, and it's yourself holding yourself accountable, and you are the only person that can actually validate your own success at the end of the day.
But that's a very good point because to that theme, I think a lot of people, if things don't go their way, They don't want to sit there and figure out why it didn't go their way. They want to blame things. They want to blame people. They want to blame situations. 9.5 times out of 10, they just didn't get off their ass and make something happen.
Absolutely. And I'm
Right.
guilty of that. I know that because I was there. I was like, why isn't anything happening for me? And I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything. Like I had a year of doing nothing. Like I think it's, and even as an artist now, I'm like, yes, things are happening for me right now, but there was a time where they weren't.
Sure.
And was that my fault? Was it the universe's fault? Like probably a little bit of both, but it's the past and you have to move forward.
Well, that's a mature outlook because I mean, here's the thing: like, um, anybody that's successful, you can sit there and go, okay, what did I do today? So if I take my Sunday, my yesterday, for example, it was a nice day where I live. A lot of people were taking pictures at the beach. I was doing a podcast interview. I practiced for a little bit. I recorded a track for somebody, and that was my Sunday. Did I get to do some fun stuff? Well, it was fun to me, but it wasn't necessarily fun.
Yeah.
But if I had a good day, I was responsible for it. If I had a bad day, I was responsible for it. So it's a nice feeling to know you hold the key to
Yeah.
your path, right?
Absolutely. I definitely have been embracing my own power and like my day-to-day productivity. That's something that like when I got a manager, I was just like, I can't let my manager work harder than me. I have to be, if not matching, exceeding her efforts. So that was one thing that changed my work, honestly. It's just like I can't play around anymore. Somebody's depending on me. So if you can hold yourself accountable even without a manager, you're 10 steps ahead of me because I
So
couldn't.
is Gina managing you?
It's Emily.
Okay, and
Emily,
Gina's doing your PR.
perhaps,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I mean, I don't know Emily, but I know Gina. I've done a lot of work with Gina, and to your point, she won't be outworked. And I like working with people that have that mindset. There might be somebody that's talented, they're more talented. There might be somebody that is better looking. There might be somebody that plays better. But if you're not outworked, you're ahead of the game all the time. So that's a great outlook. What do you have on the go for the rest of the year? You have any shows or anything coming up in the summer? Or?
Yeah, so this summer like was my first ever I played my first headlining show in Atlanta in June when we were celebrating the release of Freedom. I played a show 2, 3 nights ago in Atlanta. So I think my goals for this summer, like I've honestly already completed some things that I never thought I would do. I think that's like I'm kind of at the point right now where I'm like, yes, I have goals, but I think having gratitude and looking at what I have completed compared to where I was a year ago is also something on my radar because I'm doing things I never thought I would get to do. Um, and that being said, I want to keep performing. And my manager is like, she's like, you should perform once a month. And a year ago, that would have scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, okay, I gotta perform once a month. Like I had stage fright and I was a very shy kid and that was a terrifying idea, but now I'm just rising to the challenge. So
Well, and you get over it pretty quick, especially when you have a good response and a good kind of experience for when you're doing it, right? So,
yeah, yeah. True.
all right, young lady, last question here, because I'm guessing. Well, no, you're not currently. Are you undertaking university currently right now? Or are you on a break?
It's summer break right now, but I'm going into my senior year in the fall.
Okay, right on. Where do I send my folks to find out more about you, about your single, about what you have on the go?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram for like my day-to-day updates and where I'm like kind of promoting my stuff and you'll hear about my shows mostly through Instagram at Ana.Grosh. Um and I guess Spotify, Apple Music. I know we don't like Spotify anymore, rightfully so, but um
Uh,
so you can find my stuff anywhere.
well, just on that note. And I don't want to pick on the Spotify kids too much because hey, you know what? They have a job to do. Apparently, it is to take people like you and me and make life hard for us. But that's another point. You obviously heard about that whole AI ban thing from a few weeks ago.
What on YouTube or
It was a band that was totally created by AI, and Spotify basically knew about it, and they put their song out, and their song went bananas and all pretty much viral. And a reporter with the Rolling Stone tried to actually find out something about them and found out that they were not a real band. And Spotify had to admit it. And the whole, I guess, worry has been, I reported on it last January, is that Spotify and, well, in particular them, will
Mm.
use AI to create fake things to kind of bounce independent artists further down the food chain. Um,
That doesn't
so
even surprise me. Spotify is always punching down.
yeah,
You can quote me on that. They are always punching down and they will do anything in their power to not pay out small artists. There's been many problems relating to Spotify in that sense. So that doesn't even surprise me. And AI is just a whole other wrench in the system. So I'm not even surprised.
well, I rep my girlfriend's music, and we were in Cuba last year, and she had a song taken down that was doing very well, right? And for not real streams, for bots, and I just told the publisher, put the friggin' thing back up, and I'll fight the battle. And they put it back up and left it alone. Um, but they don't. They have zero checks and balances as far as I can tell. Zero quality control. They just pick on somebody and do it right. So uh,
That exact thing happened to me
yeah,
maybe 2 weeks ago. My not Freedom, but the single I had before Freedom got taken down because it got on some Icelandic playlist and it got 5,000 streams in a day. And they were like, this is bot activity. And I'm like, well, even if it is, I didn't put it on that playlist. I wasn't even promoting the damn song. Like, I don't know how that happened. And you can't do anything about it. And it is happening to so many small artists. I can list small artists right now that have had their stuff taken off of Spotify
yeah.
because of this exact problem. And it's just Spotify punching down. If they don't want to pay out small artists.
So I'll tell you two funny things, and I was told by a very smart independent artist, if you actually want to get paid for your music through those means, make sure that a video goes on a monetized YouTube channel. And so I did that with my girlfriend's last video, and her songwriting partner are getting regular royalties now, which I was like, okay, nice tip. So I passed that along. Um, the other thing too about that stuff is that they don't make it easy. There's nobody that you can really talk to,
Oh,
and it's very frustrating, right? So I get your point. And why would you pay 500-600 bucks to make 50 cents? That's a
no,
business model, unless it's vanity play for somebody, right?
no, it's the whole system has been broken for a while, and artists are constantly finding that they aren't making money off of music. So
Yep.
it's a whole different world right now when it comes to making money in this career, and it's impossible when big corporations are making it harder and harder. So at some point there's going to be a breaking point, and artists will have to take back power and the consumer might have to suffer a little bit. Like, God forbid you have to pay for the music. God forbid. I don't know if there's really a better way to do this.
It's it's funny you say that because I had a conversation last Thursday with an executive director of my local music association, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm sick and tired of people trying to get stuff for free and not wanting to pay for it." And that included musicians, not only the public, right? We won't go there because I get in trouble for that one all the time. But so yeah, it's a thing, and I think everybody has to kind of take a look at the model and go, okay, the only way we're going to fix this is everybody get together and do
Yeah.
something to fix it, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's like just not enough money to really go around. Like artists are constantly trying to get things for free because they're working day jobs when they should be making music. And it's no surprise that, you don't really see an artist right now not working another job. So the system is going to have a reformation at some point. I don't know when, but
Yep. No, you're right. You're right. And we won't figure that out today, but I want to thank you for doing this. It was a pleasure to meet you,
thank you. It was a pleasure.
and best of luck with everything that you have going on.
Thank you, and same to you.
And we're back after this.